WIHS Journal. I'm Anissa Porticelli. Today in the WIHS studio with me was Elaine. She's a local resident here in Connecticut, but she's also a missionary for African Education Incorporated in Nigeria. Stay tuned for all the details coming up. Today in the WIHS studios with us, we have Elaine Chagnon. She is from the African Education Partnership, Inc., and today we'll be learning all about education in Nigeria, helping African children accelerate with their education. And Elaine, thank you so much for being with us today in the broadcast. So when I saw some of the pictures online and just the deplorable situations that they have to live in, we take so much for granted here in America. Before we start talking a little bit about the education, just maybe give us a roundup about what African Education Partnership is.
Thank you very much, first of all, for having me. Our organization is a 501c3 nonprofit founded in 2009, and our goal is to work with our bishop partners in different dioceses of Nigeria with whom we form partnerships. And what we do is we build and renovate schools there because we believe that Nigeria's future lies in the education of the children, all genders, both male and female, because girls are often left out, all tribes, all religions, to bring peace and reconciliation.
That's awesome. So how did you get involved? I know we were talking, you said you actually have been there 10 times.
Yes.
So how did it come about that God prompted your heart to want to do this ministry?
I was encouraged to go on a trip that our church sponsored to check out a site for a medical clinic, and my daughter encouraged me to go. So my husband and I went and felt things that we had never felt before and seen before, and came back completely changed. While we were there, we met our first bishop partner he had just been ordained, and he had this vision of building a school where children of all faiths, be educated together. That's kind of how we first got started. This bishop then came to Hartford Seminary to study the following fall, and as he studied, we were able to form a partnership with him, a friendship, and another friend of ours was brought into the mix because he actually helped the bishop edit his dissertation. So that started the whole process going.
And, the 10 times you being there, you mentioned some of the improvements and state-of-the-art facilities that you guys sponsor, which is awesome. So one of the trips that you went there, kind of give a detailed vision for our listeners. What was a pivotal moment for you that touched your heart about any of these children?
I think the first time we went was the most shocking for me because I take so much for granted. And to see children in the airport, not in school, but begging, selling peanuts, or children running through traffic, selling anything and everything, running up to cars, selling food, selling merchandise from the locals in town. That first trip was an eye-opener. And then when I returned to the school we had been building, we had not been able to travel that far north for quite a while because of insecurity. When I was finally able to get back and saw the building completed, I just burst into tears. It was just amazing to see it built and students in there.
The African Education Partnership, what is around these beautiful state-of-the-art buildings? Is there anything else around them or by themselves?
Yeah, state-of-the-art is a relative term in Nigeria. We come in and our first project we actually built from the ground up. So we have three buildings, and we are finishing up a dormitory complex. We're working in a second area with a second diocese and bishop, and there, the buildings are there, but they're in deplorable condition, so we've been renovating them. We've done 3 village schools. None of them have electricity. 1, because it's not readily available, and 2, they don't actually need it because these are for younger children. But anytime we do a project with a school, either building or refurbishing, we always make sure that they have a well or a drilled borehole and toilets because, there are no facilities for plumbing and all of that. So they have a borehole, a toilet, and we're working on security walls and also equipment, desks, chairs, playground equipment, that sort of thing.
So tell us some of the children. Have you ever interacted with any of them, and how was their faith or hope in life changed because of these schools?
The children, the teachers are very faith-based. We have strong believers in the teachers. Kids are kids. Yeah. I had gone one time where I had brought these cloth parachutes with balls, and we were out in the playground playing with these parachutes. And they're just like kids. They're pushing and shoving to get a turn, and they're yelling at one another and having a great time. They just love to play. They love to learn. And they work really hard. And lots of times, these children have no public transportation, so they end up walking to school. So they come to school tired or hungry, or some are not well, or they walk along dangerous highways, so they're kind of stressed. So, we take into account all of that, but they're just kids. We love them. Yeah. We love them.
Yeah. So for our listeners, can you kind of describe what the African Education Partnership, Inc., some of the schools, maybe, what does it look like?
In the Middle Belt where we're working, they have a set design for school buildings. So they're usually one-story classroom buildings, no glass windows. We do shutters, and that's it. They're just classroom blocks. For the blackboards, they actually use chalkboard paint because it's less expensive. And we paid to have two-person desks made. $50 buys a two-person desk that weighs about 100 pounds. They're really heavy, and they're durable. And then for that Middle Belt, we were able to ship over 2 U.S. school buses filled with books and supplies, which we furnished for the schools. Up in the far north, it's a very different feel because as you go farther north, the population is increasingly conservative Muslim. So you have to tread carefully. You have to be careful of how you act, how you make eye contact, that type of thing. But the bishop up there has done a remarkable job of building great buildings. And these buildings are much more grand because it's in the capital city. So we've got 2-story buildings, we've got electricity, we've got science labs. It's much more of a sophisticated building plan.
Yep.
But it's because they're in the capital city and more is expected.
Any statistical information you have, any of the children or teachers about, since you guys implemented these schools, how they went on and how their life has been beneficial because of them?
Tracking information like that is exceptionally difficult because they don't have the computer base and all of that to track it. What we do know is that the schools that we have renovated, one of them went from 90 children to over 300. One was at 320, they're at 686. And the third one was about 300, and they're about 500 now. And our school in the far north started at 150, and they're over 400. The way we look at it is these buildings are seen as a sign of hope because parents want to send their children to a school that looks nice. And our 2 bishops keep good track of the teachers they hire, and these teachers are tracked and supported so that they're delivering good curriculum.
And thank you so much for sharing your heart about this, this wonderful ministry. There are details that I'm missing out that you want our listeners to know about this ministry.
I can't even describe the feeling of the Lord pulling on my heartstrings for this. This is not anything I had ever planned to do in retirement, and I am a retired school teacher. So this is nothing I had ever dreamed that I would be doing, but being in those rural villages, seeing those schools in deplorable condition with no water source, no bathrooms, and children having these haunted looks, and then you go back and you see a renovated school with kids are laughing and happy and healthier because they have clean water and they're using bathrooms instead of out in the yard. It's hard to describe, but it's just really passion and what I'm spending all of my retirement time doing. In Connecticut, the average cost of educating a child is somewhere around, $18,000 to $20,000 a year. In our areas of Nigeria, we can do it for $300 a year. And that means that 150 of it is for tuition, and the other 150, we're trying to build a fund where we can now put it toward maintaining the buildings that we've worked so hard to refurbish. So that's our latest initiative. Our website is being updated as we speak, so you can visit us on our website, www.africaep.org.
Once again on the broadcast with us was Elaine Chagnon. She's a local missionary for Africa Education Partnership. For more details about today's broadcast, you can give us a call at 860-346-1049, or you can email the office at office@wihsradio.org. I'm Anissa Porticelli for News